Big shout out to Bean Working Espresso down in Skyring Terrace, Newstead.
Best coffee in the game.
Best absolute coffee in the game. Hooking the Platform podcast, and any listeners up with a 10% discount.
Shout out.
Shout out to Yolanda.
Yolanda.
That was a mouthful.
Their coffee's real fucking good. Get
Best coffee in the game, by far. Just opened up Skyring Terrace. You can order ahead and mention the Platform podcast for a 10% discount. This is the Platform podcast with B-Bad and Brandon. I feel like the first topic of discussion...
in each of your pants.
Correct.
I'm 100% okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is the socks and slides.
I did that on purpose for you.
It's horrible.
That's awesome.
Can we get a yep, that's disgusting. Can we talk about this? So you're
It's keeping you covered for all angles.
Yeah.
but like why? Aren't you hot?
Well, no, I'm not hot.
But
Because, well, it's not. You don't have as much coverage as a full shoe. So,
But
it's still.
what are you saying? It's going to protect it?
Well, it's not going to be any more hot than you just wearing normal shoes. It's going to be.
It's probably cooler than your shoes.
It'd be cooler than
100%
that.
cooler, but like why wear socks with it?
Why not?
It was purely to annoy you.
But okay, but no, I've seen you do it before without wanting to annoy me. Why do you do it? Why, Ron?
For a quick change?
Fashion.
Ooh, fashion.
Ooh.
Quick change. That's good.
No, you should have stuck with fashion. It was funnier.
Well, both.
I'd like to see a white sock if I had a choice.
A white
A
sock.
white sock pulled up as high as possible. That'd be nice.
I've actually thrown a pair of shoes out of clients at the gym that were just disgusting. That were worse than those.
Well, you have thrown these out as well.
Have I? Oh,
You threw these out.
that's right.
And they're back again.
Yeah.
I had to fish them out.
Oh, it was like Sean Morabito, shout out, had fucking like Birkenstocks or something.
I could see him in a pair of Berkeys.
I know, and I was like,
Did he have socks on with the Berkeys? Or no?
yeah, and I
Yes.
was like, cunt, what are those? What are
Yes,
the fuck
he
is
did.
on your feet? And then he's like, I threw them in the bin. He's like, bro, they were like orthotic or whatever. Like, they were $200. I was like, well, they're in the bin now. You got to buy me a new pair. Get fucked.
Get some Crocs.
Yeah.
How do I coach you? How are we friends?
You clearly love redheads.
I do.
You have a collection.
You do have a
Oh,
collection.
Jason, Sam. Can we just, again, there's the camera. Can we just get, like, this is our whitest guest. Do you want to take the hat off? Just let everyone know that you're full ginger, that you would get burnt under fluorescent light.
I get burnt at night time inside.
Yeah.
What you were going to say from the moon.
Moonburn.
Oh, that's
Do you have a moon cream then instead of a sunscreen?
I don't.
They should. Is that a thing?
Maybe it should be a thing.
Jace, is that a thing?
Yeah, I've got it.
Actually? Oh.
Look at him.
I was like, this guy is that white.
Moon screen. Should I be
Wow.
worried about the moon? Yeah, bro. Worry about the moon.
Fuck. Yeah, but like you, Jason Lane could all pass as brothers.
Yeah. Maybe they are.
All redheads. It's not racist. Are you eating a salad again, Niall?
Tuna salad.
What? Why?
What's your stance on tuna, Sam?
I hate it.
Yep.
Tuna's disgusting. Sniff it up. boys.
That's cat food.
Johnny?
Sniff it up.
No. Yeah.
cat food.
You're
I
a,
don't want it.
I feel like, can you go into the other room, please?
No.
No, like for the
so
for the
many
sake of
better options.
salmon. Where do you rate a salmon?
Chicken. What about chicken?
I'd
Why
rather
can't
salmon.
we have chicken?
I'd rather salmon. I'd rather steak.
Chicken
Steak.
with mayonnaise.
Chicken.
But okay, but if we're talking about best meats, it's steak wins every time.
Yep.
Steak is delicious.
Steak, yep. Just boys,
Tuna for night.
steak. Jason's got
Steak.
steak. Would you literally choose a tuna steak over a beef steak?
God, no.
Okay, but you like steak's better than everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have tuna because it's cheap, bro.
You are a student. We'll,
But chicken is cheap too.
Ooh,
I'm not a big chicken eater.
nah, chicken shit.
What? Hey,
I'm not
Easy.
like unless it's covered in Colonel Sanders' leather and secret herbs and spices. I'm not a big
what
fan.
about chicken and mayonnaise? On a sandwich.
Yeah, look, it's good, but
Chicken Caesar sauce on a sandwich. You know, that's fucking good.
actually, you know what?
With
Chicken
bacon.
wrapped in bacon, prosciutto. Like that.
With-
give
It's
me
fancy.
Get some Caesar sauce on there too.
sure, or even like a little bit of like fancy cheese in the middle.
Oh, a little cheese.
What sort of cheese?
I don't know what you put in it.
Triple cream brie.
Like a brie.
Triple cream.
Triple cream brie.
Yeah. Triple.
That's a bulking meal.
It's a beautiful meal. Put it with some duck fat potatoes.
Yep. Just more fat.
More.
More calories. More is more. Yeah, exactly.
It's the right amount more.
It always is. Except in our last 2 episodes ago.
I would listen to that yesterday
Yeah,
while I was getting this. So more is definitely not more in that case.
I love it how we even Johnny agreed. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
There's
There's the occasional rule.
I loved it because it broke you to almost say. But it just, on that note, welcome, Sam Harrison.
Thanks for having me.
No, man, it's an absolute pleasure. We've been trying to get
Thank
you
you
on.
for having us.
Yeah. That's what?
It's my pleasure
Yeah,
to have
okay.
you.
Sounds a little bit dirtier than it should. Or
You do
the
what
right
you want
amount of dirty.
Yeah. You do what you want with it.
Yeah, take it how you want it. But, Sam, you've obviously listened to our podcast before.
Yep.
You know the first question.
Yep.
21 words, who you are, what you do. Brandon counts them.
All sounds count.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Good.
I'm Sam Harrison, strength and conditioning coach for multiple sports and athletes. Powerlifting, Dragon Ball, Pokemon. How many is that?
Hang on, wait.
Is that it? That one?
No, you're done now. You fucked
Done
up.
now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, I really miscounted then. No. Dragon Ball is one word, and so is powerlifting.
True.
Yeah. So you were actually at 15, but then you fucked it anyway.
Yeah.
But well done.
We can go into another Pokemon podcast exclusive discussion.
I would love to get
couldn't we?
him on with Joey Cantlin. And you can just discuss
you
Pokemon.
guys just go Pokemon all day.
Actually, you know what Brock got like some Bulbasaur thing. For those who don't know, that's Pokemon. He got like this little like figurine almost,
Yeah.
and he was just gonna leave it around the gym for Joey and just be like, "Oh my god, there's a Bulbasaur."
Is that good? Is the Bulbasaur good?
Yeah, but like as in
Yeah.
like
Okay.
I don't think he got it.
Have
No,
you
I'll
seen the Pokemon figures where they're like bodybuilding Pokemon?
Yeah,
There's like the little statues.
mate. Mark Champ was the first introduction to muscles that I ever got.
Yeah. No, but they came out with a line of like little models. It's like Pikachu, Charmander.
Oh, really?
Squirtle, and they're like bodybuilders.
That's pretty sick. I'm
How
gonna.
deep into these Pokemon are you going, bro? Are we collecting them?
Do you still have
I
cards?
don't collect
We're doing
anything.
cards.
I did cards when I was a kid.
You
but I
did?
just-
Do you regret
have
not
the
keeping
cards?
them?
yes, because you get so much money from them now.
Have you done a value on them? See what they're worth?
No, I wouldn't have had anything of like.
Did you hear
high
Joey's
value.
story?
No.
He had a
Mate.
complete first set as a kid.
Yeah.
And he remembers it pretty much, and he was sorting it all out, and his mum threatened to throw them all out because he didn't clean his room. The threat was not empty. The threat was followed through 3 days later.
That's painful.
And yeah, like one
He
of
reckons
his
it'd
cards.
be worth fucking
There was one. Well,
hundreds of thousands of dollars or
I
something.
talked to Thomas Lee the next day after that podcast,
Yeah.
that battle, and he's like, yeah, or maybe it was the novice one. He's like, yeah, some Charizard just sold for 200K.
Yeah.
That's fucking more than a house deposit.
If you've got, you could have a first edition Charizard that's like scrunched up and like fucked, and it'd probably go for a few grand. And it could look like a piece of toilet paper with a little bit of Charizard on it.
And then that'd still get cash.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's fucked.
People love it. People
Damn.
love Charizard.
I mean, I love Charizard too, but
I have no idea what it is.
yeah, you're a bit older. That would have been just before your time.
But with the value of it, I feel like I want it.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, regrets. Regrets.
Regrets.
Good.
So tell us, we're going to switch kick lanes a little bit.
Yep.
Now, you're obviously an S&C coach for multiple sports, you said, and you were,
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong, were the head of the elite athlete program at UQ.
Yep.
Fuck,
So-
that's pretty sick, dude, because you're still quite young.
Pretty young. I got pretty lucky going into that role. I studied at UQ, graduated 2016, and I did my sort of placements through UQ as well, through the S&C program. And I started that in my third year. So did some placement coaching, just wanted to keep taking on more and more coaching responsibilities with junior athletes, rugby,
Yep.
whatever I could get in and be hands-on with and coach. And then eventually came a part-time role, and eventually the head guy moved over, and recommended me for the head role,
Yeah, sick.
and been doing that for 4 years now.
Because you would have seen a variety of athletes coming through that system. Because it was, like I said, it's the elite athlete program, and it's been fucking quite renowned.
It's been pretty good. The way our program runs, it was sort of set up like a little mini QAS, I guess. Like the guy who was the manager, he created this thing. He called it the UQ Sport Academy, and his sort of vision was to have our own in-house physios, nutritionists. We had a rowing coach, athletics coach, and then we used to send heaps of different coaches out to other squads. So we would send coaches out to like Wynnum Manly Seagulls. We used to run the Brisbane Lions like under-18s programs before that became all in-house. We used to run Netball Queensland programs. I myself did lots of swimming stuff. I did Wynnum Manly under-18s. And then UQ Rugby was my big one.
Which is probably one of the biggest draw card of UQ.
Yeah.
Because their rugby program's fucking well known.
Yeah. So the UQ Rugby Club, it's probably one of the, if not the most sort of prestigious clubs in Australia. I could be wrong. I think they've got the most Wallabies captains.
Yeah,
Out of any players coming through from that club.
Because they're a massive feeder to the Queensland Reds as well.
Yeah, heaps and heaps of Reds guys.
And like obviously all around in Super Rugby.
Yeah. So guys we've actually had a couple go off to other clubs in the last couple of years. Tom Banks was a big one. He played for us, came through Colts with us. He was sort of in and out of the Reds. He was sort of on the cusp. Didn't get a full-time gig, and the Brumbies ended up picking him up, and now he's a regular fullback for the Wallabies. So, lots of good guys coming through. Stephen Moore, obviously, really well-known guy for the Wallabies and Reds, and he played for the Brumbies as well. Heaps of talent. Heaps of talent coming out of UQ Rugby.
You're going to hate me for bringing this up. Have you recovered from the loss of the premiership?
Yes. I had a big night that night trying to forget it.
Yes.
But it was not just a big...
How much did you go down by?
I actually can't even remember the score. I think we went down by more than 10 points, I think.
We were supposed to bench the next day, and he's like, if I'm not there, I'm either celebrating or I've drowned my sorrows.
Yeah. It was definitely not benching. I think it was like 30-18 or something.
Damn it.
Fuck.
Like we started pretty even. Like we started on top. We were winning at the first sort of little 20 minutes. But their East scrum was just too strong, and they ended up just fucking us in the scrum in the set piece.
Yep.
And they sort of just got a big roll on, and we couldn't come back, unfortunately.
Sorry to bring it up.
But it's not just the Premier Grade side. We had 5 teams across the whole club in grand finals, and we lost them all.
Oh, shit.
You are drowning multiple sorrows that night.
Myself and all the club managers, or the club president. It was pretty brutal.
Fuck. Hell. Have you got, because you're overlooking the big team, do you have a hand in the other grades as well?
I do, to an extent. Like, I usually try not to get too sort of in too deep with it because I don't have enough time.
That was going to be my next question. Good segue, Johnny.
Yeah. So I try and put most of my time into the Premier Grade program.
Yep.
I will sort of organise interns to sort of assist with the other lower grades teams, and I'll sort of give them some help for the
management
first
role for your side, just making sure they're doing their shit.
Yeah.
And how do you, because you handle a lot of sports, and the whole, as you said, UQ Sport Academy has produced a lot of good athletes in multiple sports. How do you, Johnny, you said before, like, are you more of a manager in that role, or do you find yourself still trying to, because I guess I look at it from my lens.
Yeah.
Is that like I could be a strength coach, which is what my qualification says, but really I'm a powerlifting coach. I only coach powerlifters.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not coaching rugby athletes, swimmers, sprinters, track athletes. Like, how do you switch gears in your mind between, okay, well, I've got to be this, then this, that?
Well,
It was a good fart, eh?
that was good.
Thanks,
you,
Noel.
Noel.
Noel farted for everyone
Yeah.
playing at home there. And it was fucking good.
It was loud. Did you think it was quiet?
No.
No.
It's but that. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, so when I was starting the role, because I was still fairly new to coaching, I wanted to get in and coach everything. So I was trying to be as hands-on as possible and coach every athlete, be at every session, have as much to do with the hands-on stuff as I could.
We're both laughing because it's like,
And it fucked me.
You get a bit tired? A bit sleepy?
I was so burnt out.
how long did that take?
I did that for probably the first 2 years, doing
Wow.
as much coaching as possible, and then doing extra, like, even after the season finished, like doing extra rep stuff, like going and doing Queensland Sevens program, doing NRC, like all extra voluntary stuff.
Is that just for experience aspect?
Yeah. So that's what it was. It was sort of the first 2 years I just wanted to get as much experience as I could to eventually move up and get a professional sort of gig. But then obviously fucking burnt out. That was where you realise the importance of delegation, get good coaches around you that can do what you need to do for you.
Yep.
And you can coach where you need to and then manage the program, make sure everything's running smoothly.
Yeah, far out.
So do you let the other coaches under you, do they create the strength program for their team?
So
and
I
then
had-
bring it to you and then you guys have a little chat over it?
Yeah,
Or is that kind of
yeah.
what you're looking at?
So most of the guys that have been our sort of coaches that will look after other teams have been like prac students that we've really liked. So we get lots of students through UQ, do their 400-hour pracs with us.
Holy shit.
So
400 hours.
yeah, so we get them for a good 6 months. So they pretty well know our programs inside and out. So once they're finished, they can pretty much go in, start coaching.
They're working 40-hour weeks. That's 10 weeks.
Yeah.
But if you get them for 6 months, obviously there are other commitments.
Yeah. So we normally do sort of 15-hour weeks-ish
Yeah, right.
for those guys. And that'll go across...
Because again,
whole
UQ has
system.
one of the best ex-science, ex-phys degrees out there. Do you
It's-
find...
it's one of the more successful ones academically,
Yep.
definitely. But I find the practical side of it is actually really lacking these days. Like,
Really?
when I came through, I think it was lacking a little bit when I was going through.
In what sense?
Like, the S&C subject that we had was good, but sort of just like the general prescription subjects,
Right.
like the guys tutoring it didn't train anyone, didn't train themselves, and you could tell.
So just working out of a textbook.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So when you've got someone teaching you how to lift that you know have never lifted themselves, it's like, well, it doesn't really have much merit.
Yeah, 100%.
So
There's got to be what's it called? Trial by fire kind of. Take what you know in the textbook, but as we all know, humans aren't a textbook and things don't necessarily work the way, not everyone works exactly the way it's described in a textbook.
100%. I mean, I remember when I was pretty, like, first year, second year, very new to coaching. I hadn't probably started coaching yet, but I thought I knew more than what I did. So I remember submitting a program and it got top marks. And I remember going back and reading through some of my programs, like, this is fucked. Like, this is shit. How did I get a 7 for this? How did someone mark me a 7 for that? Like, that's such
Yeah.
a shit program.
But that shows development. I think Johnny and I would be the same. Like, I look back at some programs I wrote, even 6 months ago, and I'm like, what the shit was that?
Yeah.
Or that doesn't make sense. Or maybe you know what I mean? Like, it's just that it shows that you as an educator and as a coach, we all need to keep progressing.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you can't look back at some old stuff you've done and be like, and question it, then I think you've kind of stagnated.
100%. I mean, you just learn more the more you coach. Different athletes require different things, different principles.
Do you find yourself applying yourself to more upskilling now that you're, I guess you're in that role of that head program?
Probably not as much as I would like to.
Yep.
Because I don't have a lot of time.
Yep.
Like, if I do have any free time, like, I'll read through like articles or
Yep.
listen to other podcasts and
You listen to other podcasts, but ours?
Our podcast, yeah.
I think
That's
you
what I
meant it.
meant.
Yeah. So just checking. We just had to
Your
check.
podcast is my primary PD source.
Then you're fucked.
Yeah, I'm sure you can mark this pod. You got PD points you need to do. You can
Yeah,
probably
tick
sign
it off with
Yep,
the
listen to
accreditation.
platform X amount of times. That should be.
We had a
more than enough.
doctor on. We've had multiple doctors
Yeah,
on.
There you go.
exactly right. We're on.
We're doctors of gains. That's right. I regret.
Which athletes go the hardest, bro?
The rugby
Like,
boys,
when they train.
the
like
rugby
in gym and
guys
stuff.
love ripping into the weights.
Yep.
So they always go hard.
Because they've probably always grown up with weights, eh?
A lot of them, like I mean, a lot of the high school programs here in Brazil, like the GPS programs have like big strength programs.
They're actually getting a lot better, aren't they?
Yeah. So a lot of those guys get into the gym like really early, which is awesome. So when they come through to us, they're in a pretty good spot for us to take over the program. Some of our athletics guys go pretty hard. Like I've got a couple of pretty impressive like athletics guys. Like I've got one 100-meter runner.
They're freaks.
He's like 70 kilos. Will trap bar deadlift like 200, and he would train twice a week in the gym.
Fuck.
So he's like it's pretty.
Their
talented.
power output's fucked, eh?
Yeah,
They are athletes.
yeah.
How quick can you do the 100?
His PB is 10.5.
Damn.
Shit, that is quick.
Damn, boy's moving.
Yeah.
That is very quick.
So he's national level, sort of just under the cusp of that really elite tier.
Yep.
So his goal's not sort of an Olympics or anything. He really wants to make like a World Uni Games.
Yep.
Something like that. He's competed at Oceania level for Australia. Yeah, he's pretty good. Even like when you're not quite that elite, like they're still freak athletes.
100%.
And that'd have to be a pleasure because like they would generally enjoy training, I imagine,
Yeah.
as a rule.
Yeah,
Because they love being an athlete, right?
they love it.
It's going to make it your job easier as a coach as well. Like,
So
obviously, because
good.
people, like, and Johnny and I are assuming the same boat. Like, when people come to us, they want to be there.
Yeah,
And that's because they're an athlete.
yeah.
Like, I can imagine it's the same for yourself.
That's probably where I'm pretty lucky. Like me being based in an elite athlete program, you don't really have to work too hard to motivate guys.
Yeah.
Like obviously everyone has their off days, and that's
Yeah.
when you have to. But for the most part, everyone wants to rip in. Everyone's there to try and compete at the top level.
Yeah.
So it's easy. Like they love training.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I love training them, so it's good.
How much does your, like, obviously now you've done three powerlifting comps?
Two,
Two.
just two.
Oh, that's right, because busting up with COVID.
The first one cancelled.
Yeah, that's right, of course, sorry. How much has that impacted yourself and your own style of coaching? Because you've climbed the ranks, like you've PB'd in your lifts, you went fucking well at your last comp. How much has that made you grow as a coach? Just from, I guess, again, talking about like trial by fire, kind of going through the process.
Yeah, it definitely gives you like some merit. Like when I was working with the Reds guys, like I was prepping for that first busting up prep before it was cancelled while I was working with the Reds pre-season.
Yep.
So those boys sort of saw me training, like I would train in the Reds gym, and they were sort of seeing the weights that I was lifting and sort of seeing that I was in there like ripping in as well. So when it comes to them in the gym and me coaching them, like it's a lot easier because they sort of see that
It's
I know
respect.
what I'm talking about. So whereas I know a lot of other S&C coaches may not have that.
Yep.
Like especially in the professional ranks, I know not everyone, but you sort of get like a lot of your academic types who will sort of just spit data and things like that. And the players, I think it's good to see someone who is actually doing what they're preaching, I guess.
100%.
So I think that helped me a lot, getting like high level athletes on my side.
Yep.
But then also like putting yourself in that position, and actually it's been good to take a step back and have you coach me, because even like different ways that you will approach things might have been something that I wouldn't have thought about. And that could be something that I could bring to my coaching and
Yep.
stuff like that. So seeing what other coaches do is always awesome as well.
As Johnny says, it's one of my favourites of his quotes. Coaches need coaches.
Yeah.
Coaches need coaches.
So I think yeah,
That's right.
Can we get that in like a shirt or
Put that on
something?
a shirt.
No, I don't even think it's a shirt worthy. I think it's like plaque worthy.
Plaque worthy. Fuck yeah. What's some of the craziest, biggest lifts you've seen thrown around in the weights room? Mate, probably the rugby boys would be the strongest, I imagine.
Yeah, so we do a lot of, like, all my programs are based around like squat, bench, deadlift, but obviously with them not being strength specific athletes, like we'll do a lot of trap bar deadlifting.
Yep. Because you must
box
be
squatting.
having to consider
Yeah,
injury, right?
yeah, 100%.
Reduce risk.
And the guys got to play games every weekend and get belted. They got to train 2 or 3 times a week on the field as well. We've had a couple of really impressive, like, real young guys. Like, I've had some Colts guys box squat 220 for a double.
Yep.
Couple of 250 plus, like, trap bar deadlifts, which is pretty good for guys that are doing only sort of 2 or 3 strength sessions a week and only sort of deadlifting like once a week.
Fuck yeah. And with the trap bar and the box squat, are you thinking reduce risk on the back and stuff
Pretty
like that?
much,
Is that where you're at?
Yeah. So
Is that common? That sort of...
it's pretty common.
Yep.
Trap bar deadlift's real common now, especially when you've got guys like really tall locks. They're obviously
true.
like,
Yeah.
They can't reach a
they're
fucking
well
barbell.
over 6 foot. Guy like props always just tight through their hips and tight through their backs and necks. So
Trying to force them into a very long, well, not a long position, but what we would consider a normal range of motion for them is just like,
yeah, and it's not necessarily that they can't get in that range of motion. Like, I'm sure they could, but it's just safer.
Yeah.
To do.
well, it's
to
the
do
risk
it
versus
this way.
reward of it.
And you've
benefit.
probably got a pretty small window of opportunity to teach, execute the session,
Yeah.
and then give feedback, right? Like,
Yeah, 100%. Especially when I've got a gym with 20 guys in it at once. Like,
Fuck, that
conventional
must create an
must be some ego, and everyone's just trying to go fucking
It's
crazy too, right?
testing days are sick. Like, everyone gets around each other, throwing up big weights. But yeah, doing like the most simple, most safe is, even just for me, just easy. So I don't have to keep an eye on everything. Because obviously conventional deadlifting can be.
Do you find that hinders your ability to be able to influence performance though? Do you
Sometimes.
think do you think you get better results by, I guess, doing something a little bit less deemed safe, but you have to because of the circumstance, you have 20 guys in there.
Yeah. So say if I was to have one-on-one session with that player, like maybe I'll do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
That might benefit them a little bit more. But you've got to be practical. Like, if you've got 20 guys, it's hard to have 20 individual programs.
Yep.
We've got a pretty small gym space as well. So you sort of have to weigh up the balance of whether you want that ideal program that's going to work exactly for that player, or whether we actually want to get 20 players through their gym session,
Yep.
get enough out of the session that it's going to benefit them on the rugby field, and then they can go off to their field session and play footy.
Yeah, fuck. And now we've had multiple discussions about this, and I guess I know the answer, but it's like what I like about you as an S&C coach is you very much run the rule of, the gym is the weight room. It's where you do it. Leave the skills for the paddock.
100%.
Leave the technical stuff to the swimming coach, to the rugby coach. Like, as an S&C coach, our role is to keep you strong, healthy, moving, and everything like that.
Yeah, 100%.
But when I see S&C coaches try and replicate skill in the gym, like, it's come on, man.
Yeah, and there's lots of high-level coaches doing it.
Why?
So lots of young coaches will see like a professional team doing something super specific, and they'll think, oh, that's what I need to do with my development guys. It's like, fuck, like,
But like,
don't.
is that something that's taught through? I'm sure it's not taught in your as an academic level.
It's not really, no. So it's sort of just something that everyone's sort of looking for something to give them a point of difference, I guess. Like, they'll see something fancy on Instagram and try and replicate it, not understand why they're doing it. Or a lot of the time, the head coach who has no idea about S&C will be like, swimming is a really good example. Swimming head coaches love to just replicate the swim stroke in the gym.
Really?
Yeah. So
What do you mean? Like,
Is
how?
that got to be a frustrating discussion when the swim coach comes to you and says that?
What do you like? Are they attaching bands to a fucking rack and?
like,
Oh, they actually are attaching bands to a
Yeah.
rack. Oh my god! Wow.
yeah. So
Just do some chin-ups.
So like a lot of the time, the head coach will be like, I think they need to do more like scrum stuff in the gym, or these guys need to do more like breaststroke kick in the gym.
What do you mean?
Because
What do you mean
More
breast-
breaststroke kick.
like they'll just come up with random things
Like, just
that
get on-
they think that you can just replicate in the gym, and that will make them better in the pool or on the field.
Really?
Yeah. I once had a rugby head coach ask me if we can get the boys in the gym doing squats with a rugby ball under their arm.
What?
No, he didn't. That's
How do you answer that with a straight face?
Did you
I
answer
said,
with a straight face?
I said, we're not fucking doing that. He's like, oh, I saw a video of the Crusaders like with rugby balls in the gym. I was like,
But okay, was that video? Were they squatting with the ball?
I don't know. He brought up a video where they were not squatting with a barbell. They were bodyweight squatting, and they had a ball under one arm. And then there was other ones where they would do like a set of dumbbell press, and then they would just do like passes, like halfback passes in between sets and things like that. It's like, mate,
But I can understand that a little bit more than I can understand squatting with a barbell on your back with fucking ball.
it's just dumb.
Start doing some Hatfield squats or something with
They
it.
just want more time. They just think any time that you've got the ball in your hands is going to make you a better football player.
And this is that's
How do you replicate a breaststroke in the
yeah. I'm
weights room?
still trying to figure that one out too.
What are you
actually,
thinking?
There's actually like pieces of equipment.
No.
There's something called a swim bench where you lay face down on it, and it's actually got like attachments on it that you put on your wrists and legs, and you can crank
you
the
swim.
resistance up. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Now, okay.
How many swimmers have you prescribed the swim bench to?
0.
Okay, so this was made. Let's digress this a little bit because that actually I'm triggered.
Yes.
It doesn't take much these days. Once you get over, you'll get there when you get to our age, Sam. Wait, you're
I'm
younger.
your age.
Yeah, right.
My age.
When you get to Johnny's age, 30.
3, thanks to Mel. 33.
I called you 30.
Oh, lovely. I'll
Yeah.
take that too.
So there's this swim bench that's been created.
Yeah.
So someone's obviously thought that if I can get them in this position more under resistance, they'll move through water better.
Yeah. And head coaches love it, and they will push their case, and they'll try and argue with it for it. And I've had that argument with my swim coach a lot.
You'd have to just come back and say, how about you stick to swim and I'll stick to weights room?
Well, the one that I'll always get them with is, how many strokes do you think they do in one swim session with you in the morning? Like, a couple of thousand maybe. If it's a big session, a couple of thousand strokes. Okay. Is another 20 strokes in the gym going to help them on top of that?
Yeah, under
Like,
resistance that doesn't
like,
replicate.
No.
But surely, like, if you breaststrokes, this one, hey,
Yeah.
and your legs like
This
kicking
one.
like a frog.
This
No,
Oh, no, fuck, that's a off the podcast one.
that's a different breaststroke.
That's a later tonight one.
That was actually pretty funny though. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
So like they're in constant abduction at the hip, external rotation. Why the fuck wouldn't you just do a hip airplane? Single leg hip airplane.
It's not specific enough.
But how is it not? You're going through similar planes of motion. You're just not going through knee flexion.
Coaches just, they're weird.
But surely, like, okay. Now, this is for those listeners. This is more of a fucking rant now. But surely, the head coach
Yeah.
employs you to do a job.
Yes.
And yes, of course, they'll have a little bit to say that they're at the top.
Yeah.
Is it a trust thing?
I think initially, so I had a lot of these battles when I first started.
Yep.
And then obviously as I started to do my thing and started to get results doing things the way I do them, you get that.
Right.
You get less and less of that, and you get them on board.
Yep.
And you can sort of spend that time, educate them to say, this is why we're doing it.
And see, it almost seems like you're fighting two battles, man. You got to educate the fucking the athlete, and then you got to educate the coach as to why. I feel
That's a constant battle, not just swimming. Like rugby will have the same sort of thing, like something like conditioning running, like we'll always get asked to try and make the conditioning more game specific, which we can. But it's sort of at different parts of the year, you need different things, and even like for athletics, like if they want to replicate more running stuff in the gym, it's like, well, maybe some stuff is relevant, but other stuff is not. If this guy can't even squat like 100 kilos, doing something more specific is not going to help him while he's not even strong. So it's sort of a little bit, you're always sort of educating other coaches, your head coaches who don't know what you're trying to do as an S&C coach.
So that's got to be important, eh? Like if you don't have, let's call it a baseline of strength, like you said, you can't squat 100. Like you got a lot more problems than not being able to fucking do some sport specific thing.
100%.
Maybe just get your fucking squat better.
Yeah. Like 9 times out of 10, just get strong across all your basic lifts. It's going to make you just a better, well-rounded athlete. Yeah. You're going to become more athletic in general.
And you don't have to squat like we do and be, I mean, you should, because we're great. No,
we're talking face slap and headbutting. Yeah.
But like the skills of learning the skill of squatting or benching, or even if we regress that and look to a more, I guess, quote unquote functional fucking exercise, like master a push-up.
Yeah.
Learn how to control your scaps.
Yeah.
Go to a lunge. Do a lunge. Learn how to move unilaterally.
Yeah. And I think that's something we do really well with our junior guys. A lot of the programs we start, we will run sort of development programs. We'll run development programs and we will start on bodyweight sort of stuff. When they're sort of 13, 14, we'll progress them into really light sort of like goblet squats or lunges or whatever, push-ups. And then as they spend that time with us and they get into the more senior programs, they've laid all the foundations.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think we've got a pretty good pathway there. And I try and set that up across all my sort of programs that I run, or get our other coaches to run, so we don't come into those problems.
Yeah, right.
Which is good.
Fucking hell. Seems like a battle.
Curious question. Say you're working with a swimmer or a different athlete. Are you considering their body weight and body composition change if they're putting on a bit of exercise that's going to slow them down, potentially running or swimming?
Yeah, so that's if it's really noticeable, or if they're a higher level athlete, it becomes more important. If they're like a development athlete, I probably don't really care too much about it. It's probably more about them enjoying their swimming or mastering the basics in the gym. And then once they become competitive, we can delve into body composition sort of stuff. And if it is the elite guys, head coach will have their opinion on what sort of weight they need to be at. Some of them might see other nutrition. All our swimmers see a nutritionist. And then, for example, for our rugby guys, like our scrum coach might say, like, this guy, he's too fat, like he needs to lose this, or this guy's too small. Like, we can weigh it up sort of on an individual basis, but if they're not super competitive, we don't really worry about it too much.
Question off the back of that, and something you said in there is like, through the development squads, you focus on really getting them to enjoy the sport. Now, have you seen many guys or girls, with that potential to really push, the top elite, but just get burnt out by the amount of training required, or just get turned off it because it is that, and they're so young. Like, surely, training a 14-year-old kid, he doesn't want to spend all his time there. Do you find that's an issue? You see it all the time in the endurance sports. So lots of rowers, they go so hard in high school rowing programs, and same with swimmers. Like, they're doing potentially 9 sessions in the water a week.
2 a day, damn.
As a kid, because their parent wants them to do it. You see some that will go on to do better things, but you see heaps of drop off after high school. And there's reports, like there's data out there. There's reports of huge drop off from high school age going into like university age. There's huge drop offs in a lot of the endurance sports where they just get hammered.
And potentially could be some really good athletes in there that have left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck.
right.
If you could just backed off a session a week or something, you might have.
Yeah.
They may have stuck with
Yeah.
the
100%.
sport.
I mean, I get in like two minds about it because obviously
Fine line.
yeah, 100%, because we've spoken to Gwaine on the podcast before where he spent time in Detroit. I'm pretty sure, like, where kids are taught all this sort of train how to eat from ages of 6 and up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kids need to be kids.
Yeah.
It's just like, where do we go? How do we differentiate? What is the balance for it?
Yeah. And if they are a junior athlete and they miss 1 week of training, in the scheme of their career, it is not going to matter.
Yeah,
Like, chill out and have fun.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. How do you go find switching between the disciplines, like as a coach for each one, and how you have to think about each one differently?
I think with my programming, like, I'll program sort of the basics for most of my athletes. So no matter what sport, all the program will sort of be based around the big lifts. That's just how I program.
Yep.
That's
And
your
then-
kind of coach philosophy with everything.
Yeah.
And then
So I
you
think-
look at the year, I guess, imagine what they've got coming up.
So different parts of the year, we can get into more specific stuff for those sports, obviously, and backing off and knowing when to go a little bit harder. But yeah, my coach philosophy is it's very basic. Do the basics like extremely well,
The basics work.
and then play around with the specific stuff once they've mastered all of that.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. Going off the back of that basics, how much better or how many more athletes could we probably produce that would go longer, go harder, and just genuinely be better in performing if the basics were mastered?
Thousands.
Thousands. Yeah. 'Cause I just feel like it's an overlooked thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think I respect any SC coach who can look at the whole year and go, well, we need to be on here, we need to be on here, we need to be on here. But how can I bring this all back to really basic so one doesn't overwhelm the athlete, doesn't over fatigue him, but allows them to perform?
Yeah, 100%.
Have you had a chance to give back a bit of education yourself? Like,
Well, we
do you
get
wanna
lots
teach
of-
yourself, or is it more just mentoring with the
Yeah, mostly
students
the
come
sort of
through?
students coming through. I haven't done any sort of presenting or any educating formally, really. Like, we will probably get roughly sort of 10 prac students a year if we're in full fling. Like COVID, we weren't allowed to have any students on. But sort of at our peak, if we've got all our programs running, we'll have potentially up to 10 students a year. So it's educating those guys. Throughout the week, we will sort of have different topics, and me and the other coaches will sort of do little presentations just for that sort of group. But I haven't done anything sort of for any organisations or anything like that.
Because it must be, I mean, it'd be very different coming out of the school, out of uni, and then all of a sudden, fuck you, you've got to put a real thing together,
Yeah.
not theory-based.
Well, that's where you learn everything.
Yeah.
When you're on prac and actually working. Like, no amount of like studying in a textbook is going to prepare you to, like, how do you command a weight room with 20 rugby dudes in it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, how
fuck.
do you get them on task
Yeah.
if they're fucking decided they're going to be a bit unruly today?
Yeah. So you could have guys that are like straight sevens all through uni. It's like, all right, you're going to run the warm up for the boys today, and they're like, oh,
That'll be confronting.
it's like, I don't care what you do, like, it's just a warm up. Go and do it. And they're like, oh fuck, I can't do it.
Run some laps.
Do
Lap.
anything. Do something.
Laps are good. I'm a
Fuck.
big fan of laps.
You are a big fan of rap.
Do
I'm
the
not
boys,
a big fan of
and
laps.
then I bet do the rugby boys or the high level guys see a bit of blood in the water and realise that new person might be a bit quiet and a bit timid and really make it worse for them?
Most of
It's
the
got
boys
to be
are
a
pretty
hazy
good.
period.
Because I would.
Most of the boys are all right.
So how do I squat?
When I did some place when I was doing my first placement with UQ, I did a placement with the Broncos as well,
Oh.
and those guys like would get into you.
Really?
That's like a different culture. Like rugby league and the rugby union boys, like they would try and like
It's because
get you.
They're just a bunch of larrikins just
Yeah.
trying to have a good time
Yeah. So they would try and take the piss out of you. Like they would try and get you.
every moment.
But the rugby union boys are too nice.
Dirty Broncos.
Maybe once the other rugby guys sort of get to know you a little bit more, that's when they'll get you.
Yep.
But at the start, like if we got new students there, they're probably too nice.
What was the coaching like at Prac for the Broncos like?
What year was this?
This was 2015, and I did pre-season 2015 leading into the 2016 season.
Right.
So Wayne Bennett was still there.
That was coming off the back of their grand final loss.
Yes.
Oh, that would have been good. That would have been good pre-season.
Fucking Ben Hunt.
Yeah.
Well, that year was like the first year that they had run like a structured intern program.
Right.
And there was a lot of kinks in it.
Yeah, right.
So we had to wear fluoro green shirts.
Really?
Yeah. So all the boys called us the Green Lanterns. We did a lot of filling up water bottles. We did a lot of washing GPS bibs. We did a lot of washing protein shakers. And not much learning.
Oh, fuck.
Didn't think so. Did you
Just
get to meet
getting
Alfie?
stitched up.
Though?
Yes.
Did you ride Alfie like Cameron Munster did after the third Origin?
No.
No.
Is he a loose unit like he comes across in everything else he does?
Yes.
He would, bro. He was still fucking drunk at that Triple M interview or
Yes.
something.
He's a legend.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking oath. 2021, what's it looking like for you as a coach?
Well,
Because Big Reds is
going full time.
Big Reds gym is going full time.
Who yeah?
So
Where's
I've-
Big Reds?
So I've resigned from UQ Sport, and I'm looking at going full time private. The rugby club sort of hit me up with like a awesome opportunity. They're going to build a gym space, so they can run all their S&C stuff in house rather than hiring the gym at the uni. And so they've sort of said, we want you to come run the rugby program, and then you can run your private business through there. So
Big Reds gym.
Big Reds 2.0.
Damn. Where's that going to be located?
So it's still at UQ,
Yep.
but at the rugby club instead of they've got a public gym.
Yep.
We run our normal stuff now.
Sick.
So at the clubhouse, awesome spot, right next to the athletics track.
Yep.
Right on the rugby field.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be sick.
I just love the name.
Big Reds gym.
Big Reds.
Is the logo your face?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd be sick.
that's fucking great.
Fuck
All
yeah.
right, mate. You know what's coming.
Ooh,
The
here
10
we
biggest
go.
questions of your life.
Give it to me.
30 seconds, sir. Tell the world anything you like. Ready, set, go.
Socks and slides is an acceptable form of footwear.
No, it's not.
Pineapple does not belong on pizza.
Whoa.
That's an abomination. And tuna is disgusting. It is for cats.
I agreed with the last one for sure. I do not agree with you. Still got 5 seconds, but I'm taking over. The fuck pineapple does belong on pizza.
Let's grow.
Pineapple shit on pizza.
Whoa.
Pineapple shit on pizza.
Okay,
Pizza.
well, just follow on question for that. I'm really sorry. Not part of the 10. Anchovies on pizza.
Ugh.
I've never had anchovies on pizza, but I feel like I could get around that.
Nah, you don't want it.
You're all weird.
You don't want it?
I've never tried it.
What's the strangest thing you have, do, or think about?
Train with us.
I think about Jace a lot.
We all do. Don't we, Jace? What's
No
the
comment?
most important quality in a human?
Kindness.
What made-up word would you like to see enter the English language?
Sneens.
What is sneens?
When someone wears sneakers and jeans combo.
Sneens.
Like jeans and the white New Balance
Yeah.
shoes. Sneens.
No.
First memory?
I don't know if this was my first memory, but this is one that comes to mind. When I was a toddler, I was at the beach, and it was really fucking hot on the sand. And I remember running onto the sand, and it was super hot, burning the fuck out of my feet. But instead of like running back off the sand, I just stood there and screamed until someone came and picked me up.
How you feel about wombats, sir?
Wombats are sick.
Big
What's
balls
up-
too.
Yeah, apparently.
Big balls.
Apparently,
Mel
yeah.
said.
Mel said.
What'd you learn last week?
Tattoos hurt.
Yeah, they
Fuck
do.
yeah, they do. Perfect Saturday Arvo / evening?
Deadlifts, and then Netflix, and then
Chill.
Maybe go out for dinner with the
Sounds like what
missus.
I'm doing later today. Excellent.
It actually does, yeah.
It's exactly what I'm doing. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Thank you.
Damn it. What's the last words you're going to say before you die?
See ya.
See you.
Very, very basic. I like it.
Simple, but effective.
Let's go
Let's grow.
in peace.
No. We didn't touch on it, but your catchphrase is catching on.
Let's grow.
Yeah. It's really catching on.
It's going global,
Viral.
viral.
Viral through the globe.
Now it's on here, so it'll be viral.
Yeah. You know,
I need to get that on a banner and put it in the
big
new gym.
reds. Fucking oath.
Fuck yes, you do.
That's going to happen.
Now, for people wanting to reach out in an athletic sense, coaching, whatever, mentoring, where can they find you?
On Instagram, samharrison.coach, or email samharrison.coaching@gmail.com.
Done. Legend. Mate, thank you so much for your Saturday
Slip
after.
into those DMs.
Thanks for having
Slip into the DMs.
me. Slip in.
Send them any sort of picture you want. Fuck, I really hope someone sends you a dick pic after this.
Oh, can
It's
you imagine?
encouraged. Jace has sent me like 4
Today.
today.
During this podcast.
He's just been sitting there taking dick pics and sending them to me.
Oh, jeez. We know.
Dirty boys. Dirty redheads. All right, man. We'll let you go. Thank you so
you.
much.